Pay close attention to me now, because what you are about to hear may be exactly the answer you silently asked God for. Perhaps no one knows about the nights you cried alone. Perhaps no one notices the weight you carry in your chest every day, the constant worry, the fear of the future, the feeling of fighting so hard and yet not getting anywhere. But I need to tell you something with all the certainty in my heart. Your life doesn't end here. There is a path of prosperity, purpose, and transformation prepared for you. And that path begins within your mind. Yes, within what you silently feed every day. Because everything that dominates your thoughts slowly begins to dominate your life. Those who live feeding fear end up trapped by fear. Those who live believing in defeat begin to see defeat in everything. But those who decide to feed their minds with faith, vision, and hope begin to open spiritual doors that previously seemed impossible. And this is not just motivation. This was already written in God's word thousands of years ago. For as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Now I want you to do something with me. Close your eyes for a few seconds. Imagine the life you dream of living. Imagine yourself free from debt. Imagine your family at peace. Imagine waking up without anxiety. Imagine yourself prospering. Imagine yourself achieving what once seemed impossible. Feel that emotion within you. Because something powerful happens when you begin to visualize what you want to live. Your mind begins to believe, your spirit begins to align, and your life slowly begins to change direction. So I want to ask you something now. Write in the comments, I will prosper. Write with faith. Write even if everything seems difficult today. Write even if no one believes in you. Because when you declare something with conviction, you begin to break old mindsets that have held you back for years. And today, I want to reveal a secret hidden in Proverbs 3. A secret so powerful that it can completely change the way you see wealth, success, purpose, and prosperity. Most people read Proverbs quickly, but few manage to see what is really hidden there. Solomon wasn't just writing pretty words. He was leaving codes, principles, spiritual laws capable of transforming an entire life. And it all begins with an extremely powerful phrase. My son, do not forget my law, and let your heart keep my commandments. Notice this. Solomon isn't just talking about listening. He's talking about keeping it in your heart. Because information alone doesn't transform anyone. Today, there is an excess of information and a scarcity of transformation. People watch videos all day long. They listen to messages, they read books, they take courses, but they remain emotionally broken. They remain directionless. They continue living the same cycles. Why? Because listening isn't enough. You need to live it. You need to practice it. You need to allow the principles to change who you are inside. And perhaps that's why so many people remain tired of their own lives. They want quick results without building strong foundations. They want prosperity without discipline. They want victory without transformation. But God works first within the person. Before changing your financial life, He changes your mindset. Before handing abundance over to you, He strengthens your emotional structure. And then Proverbs 3 reveals something even deeper. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That's incredibly powerful. Because there are times when human logic can no longer see a way out. Perhaps you are experiencing exactly that right now. Perhaps you have looked at your life recently and thought, I don't know what to do anymore. But listen to this. God can see paths where you can only see walls. What seems impossible to you doesn't limit God's power. And here's the secret. Trusting doesn't mean understanding everything. Trusting means continuing to walk, even when you still can't see the result. It's continuing to believe when everything seems contrary. It's getting up again even after so many disappointments. And I know there are emotionally exhausted people listening to this message right now. People who have tried so many times. People who have lost hope. People who have started to believe they were born only to survive. But I need to tell you something today. You weren't born to live trapped in scarcity. You weren't born to live dominated by fear. You weren't born to carry this weight forever. There is something greater prepared for your life. But to access it, you need to stop trusting only in your own strength, because there are battles that cannot be won through human effort alone. There is a spiritual direction that can only be accessed through faith. And when you learn to truly trust God, something begins to change within you. Fear begins to lose its power. Anxiety begins to diminish. Hope begins to return. And little by little, you begin to realize that God was working even in the moments when you thought he was silent. Now pay attention to this phrase. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. This can completely change your life, because many people only remember God when they are desperate. But Solomon says, in all your ways, in business, in decisions, in relationships, in choices, in thoughts. Because when God takes control of your life, the paths begin to align. And do you know what destroys many people? Decisions made in emotion, in haste, in fear, in need, and then come the consequences. But when you learn to live with purpose and spiritual direction, your mind begins to gain clarity, and clarity changes everything. A person without clarity wastes years going in circles, but a person aligned with purpose manages to move forward even slowly, because they know where they are going. Now imagine this. You are driving on a completely dark road. You can't see anything, but suddenly the headlights turn on. That's exactly what happens when God illuminates your path. Decisions become clearer, opportunities begin to appear, environments begin to change, and little by little your life takes a new direction. But Proverbs 3 continues, and here we arrive at one of the strongest parts of all. Do not be wise in your own eyes. In other words, don't let pride destroy your future, because pride is silent. It makes a person believe they don't need to learn anything more, that you don't need to listen to anyone, that you already know everything. But proud people stop growing, and those who stop growing slowly begin to destroy their own lives. Solomon shows that humility is a powerful key to prosperity, because humble people continue to evolve. They continue learning, they continue listening, and perhaps what is preventing many people from prospering is not a lack of opportunity. Perhaps it is excessive pride, because pride drives away the right people. It drives away advice. It drives away growth. But humility opens invisible doors. Now listen to this deeply. Perhaps God is using the difficult processes in your life to strengthen you. Perhaps this pain is not the end. Perhaps it is training. Because Proverbs 3 also speaks of discipline, and nobody likes discipline. Nobody likes to be corrected. But every strong person was shaped through difficult processes. Every mature person went through moments of pressure. And maybe you're experiencing exactly that right now. Maybe there are nights when you think about giving up. Maybe there are days when you feel emotionally exhausted. Maybe you're tired of fighting. But don't give up now, because there is growth happening within you. There is strength being built. There is maturity being born through this pain. And one day you will look back and realize that what almost broke you was actually preparing you. The great winners are not those who never cried. They are those who kept going even while crying. And that changes everything, because true prosperity doesn't begin with money. It begins with emotional strength. It begins with mindset. It begins with the ability to remain steadfast during the process. Now pay attention to this. Proverbs 3 says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of your produce." This reveals something very profound. Prosperity is not just about making money. It's about developing the maturity to manage what comes into your hands. Because many people ask for abundance, but still live without purpose, without wisdom, without emotional control. And money without wisdom destroys lives. But when there is purpose, honor, and direction, prosperity begins to flow. Because God doesn't just release resources. He releases direction to sustain what comes. And perhaps that's exactly what many people are lacking. Not more effort, but more wisdom. Because true wealth begins in the mind. And then Solomon reveals one of the greatest secrets of all. Blessed is the man who finds wisdom. Notice this. He didn't say, happy is the one who is lucky. He didn't say, happy is the one who was born rich. He said, happy is the one who finds wisdom. Because wisdom creates paths, create opportunities, create reconstruction. Money can run out, but a wise mind can start over. And here's a powerful truth. Those who develop wisdom become virtually unstoppable because they learn to grow even in difficult times. They learn to see hidden opportunities. They learn not to give up easily, and that changes destinies. Now imagine this deeply. If you lost everything today, what would remain inside you? Despair or enough wisdom to rebuild? That's the question, because true wealth has never been just in your pocket. It has always been within your mind. And perhaps today is the beginning of a new phase in your life. Perhaps today God is awakening something within you, a new vision, a new mindset, a new hope. So I want you to declare this again with all the strength of your soul. I will prosper. Write this in the comments. Write as a spiritual decree. Write as someone who has decided to no longer live limited by fear. And if this message touched your heart like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Because perhaps there is someone close to you almost giving up on their own life. And this message can rekindle their hope. Never forget this. True prosperity begins within the mind. It begins in the heart. It begins in the pursuit of wisdom. And Proverbs 3 can be the map that God left to completely transform your life.